breaking news from Woj. This is not a surprise. The Cleveland Cavaliers dismissed coach J.B. Bickerstaff today. He led Cleveland to the conference semifinals this year, won 99 regular season games in the past 2 years, but change comes with hope of advancing deeper. Let me add some context to this. Change comes with the hope of keeping Donovan Mitchell. That's the really important part of this. There is a feeling, again, I'm not reporting anything to you. I'm not close to that situation. I only talk to a lot of people who are. I very much get the sense that Donovan Mitchell and J.B. Bickerstaff was not a good match. That Donovan Mitchell did not, he's not going to say it publicly. I think this is a move that is made as much as anything in the interest of keeping Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I think you have the 100% right. Bickerstaff being fired or being on the hot seat was probably the worst kept secret in the whole league this year. I think it's worth noting that the Lakers and the Cavaliers both have a head coach opening simultaneously while LeBron James is a free agent. Just want to say that out loud. I think it's worth saying out loud.
Why?
Well, because LeBron James watched a playoff game in Cleveland from the court last week, and a lot of people speculated that might have been, intentional.
I've heard that. You mean to say you think he was trying to send a message that maybe he'll go back to Cleveland?
I think it's on the list of options.
So I played golf with a guy from Cleveland the other day, and he was saying to me, Greeny, LeBron's coming back. LeBron's coming back. I'll say this. Do I believe that he might try and use that as some sort of leverage play? Absolutely. I would consider LeBron James going back to Cleveland at this stage as unlikely. I would qualify it as impossible is much too strong.
Give me a percent chance that you could see it happening. 1 in 100. I think it's much higher than that.
I don't think there's any way in hell that happens.
Why?
Because I think he's got everything set up exactly the way he wants it right now.
Playing on the 11th best team in the Western Conference into his 40s?
Yeah.
Honest question. If basketball remains a priority for LeBron James, how on earth could you watch the Western Conference playoffs and say to yourself, I'm going to willingly go back there?
I had these conversations with Mike and others at the end of Kobe's career. I remember saying, why wouldn't Kobe want to go someplace else? Now, I get that Kobe had the lifelong Laker thing, and LeBron didn't have that. But at the end of his career, Kobe willingly chose to stay in L.A., finish there on teams he knew were not going to win the championship, rather than, at that stage of his life, uprooting everything. And I think for LeBron to uproot everything, I know Cleveland is home on some great level. I understand that part of it. But I think he's got everything set up exactly the way he wants it in L.A., personally and professionally. I think he has a pretty good team and knows he has a pretty good team. I will be very surprised if he goes to Cleveland.
I would be surprised, but, he wouldn't be uprooting everything necessarily. His son, who was playing at USC last year, might enter the NBA or return to a different college.
Right, but he has 2 other children in the house.
Of course. I get all of it. What I'm saying is, LeBron James is very capable of living in a different city for another year or two if he decides that's best.
Yes, I'm not saying that it's not arguably a possibility. I am saying I for one will find it extremely surprising.
Let me just speak for the fine folks in Cleveland. I was there last week en route to my nephew's graduation party, which I was at for 6 days.
I thought it was a niece.
Niece, excuse me, yes. Lucy is a she.
Wait, what?
Regardless.
What just happened?
Did you just mix up your niece and your nephew? Like, you just got wrong whose graduation you spent 6 days attending in Toledo, Ohio last week?
Well, it was like 1% of the trip, so it's easy to forget.
It was Lucy's, not Gideon's. My mistake.
Gideon?
That's her older brother.
And Lucy and Gideon call you Paul, correct?
Correct. Why did you just laugh at Bubba's Gideon?
Just the way he said it.
Do you not know a Gideon?
You didn't find that funny? I know them from English literature.
I know a Gideon.
You know a Gideon in person?
He's the drummer in my cousin's band.
Of course. Gideon is the drummer in your cousin's band. That's who Gideon is. Who is your nephew, Gideon?
He is also a drummer with long hair. So
Let's
that's just kind of how they
go.
roll.
Maybe it's the same one.
If you name your
I
child
don't know
Gideon,
any Gideons. I'm just throwing that out there.
if you name your child Gideon, you're asking for him to have long hair and be a drummer. right?
And be my nephew.
That's who that's going to be. That's who that's going to be.
The point I
cousin's
was
friend.
trying to make is that all of Cleveland thinks LeBron is coming back.
I know. Then they're all
Including
wrong.
Gideon?
I'm sorry. I love you, Cleveland. I love everybody. I spent so much time in Cleveland following LeBron there. I can't count for you the number of games we went to, the number of shows we did live from there. Progressive Field was basically the Mike and Mike home away from home. I know the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame better than I know my own house. But what I'm here to tell you is LeBron's not going back.
I don't think it's responsible to assume that LeBron James is going to go back to the Lakers. He's a free agent. Is it the likeliest scenario? Yes. Is it certain? No. And by the way, we were told today by Brian Windhorst on Get Up that LeBron has no interest in dipping his hand into the who's going to be coaching the Lakers cookie jar. Seems a little bizarre to me too, considering that's a pretty important person when it comes to what LeBron's life is going to look like in the next few years should he stay there. I just think there are enough variables to where I'm not willing to say for sure that he's going back. That is all.
Do you want to hear maybe the best LeBron James statistic that you will ever hear? I'm going to give, and it is well known, I'm a Michael guy, right? If this is a debate in the world, then, and I know people are tired of it and whatever. I'm a Michael guy. I will die a Michael guy. It is almost impossible for me to foresee circumstances in which I will ever say the words, anyone else is the greatest basketball player that ever lived. But we're talking about arguable this morning. If you want to make an argument for LeBron, here it is. You want to define a player's longevity? You want to define greatness in a player over a prolonged period of time? LeBron James made All-NBA yesterday. He made an All-NBA team. He has now made All-NBA in 20 of his 21 seasons. That is the most All-NBA selections by a wide margin. He's made 20 All-NBA teams. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kobe Bryant, and Tim Duncan each made 15. So they're tied for second. He has 33% more All-NBA teams than anyone else
25%
in
more.
history. It's 33% more. It's 5 more than 15. How is that not 33%?
Oh, I was doing 20 minus 15 is 5 divided
who's
by
right?
20.
Oh, now Greeny's
Did
the
I
math
just stump
guy.
you in math?
You're right, and I'm wrong.
Nice.
Oh, how great is that?
I just
Show that on
interrupted,
your
and you were
calculator.
rolling.
This is
Yeah.
not a good segment for him.
I should sit this one
That's
out.
correct. Get Gideon on the phone. Anyway, but that isn't even my favorite part of the stat. As of yesterday, LeBron James is both the oldest and the youngest player to make an All-NBA team in league history. He made All-NBA at the age of 20. He made All-NBA at the age of 39. If you want to make an argument for LeBron James having the greatest longevity, having the greatest long career, what's the word I'm looking for here? The greatest span of greatness in the history of any American sport. Ooh, you could do it. Tom Brady is the only person that comes to mind. Who else played this long, this well?
That's a great question. So
Michael Jordan wasn't in the NBA when he was 20, and he had retired twice by the time he turned 39. Tom Brady, of course, wasn't in the NFL at 20 either. He was still playing great at 44 and 45. The only person I can think of who has this span, this longevity of greatness in pro sports would be him. Now, you have to help me with some hockey. The
It's
guys
probably
like
Gordie
Ray
Howe.
Bork,
Gordie Howe
was
was an all-star at age 41, so that's probably
he
your
played
closest.
longer. I mean, he played
until he was 51.
ridiculously long. He was in the WHA at certain points here. I'm going to need help with that one. I'm going to need. Is there any baseball player
I
who
think
beats
the
this?
best one would be Henry Aaron. Henry Aaron was a great hitter
How
through
old was
his
he in
30s.
his last year?
42.
No, his last great year.
His last great year, he was 39. It's about as good as you're going to do in
Probably
baseball.
came up in when he was 22, 23, something like that.
Yeah, debuted at 20.
So again, LeBron, age 20, All-NBA. Age 39, All-NBA. All-NBA 20 of his 21 seasons. The only one he didn't make it was the year he got hurt and never came back.
For him to
First or second year, Whichever year in LA that he got hurt.
Right. For him to be the youngest to do it and the oldest to do it is astonishing.
Now, you're going to say to me, or at least in the interest of qualifying the stat.
Actually, just quick, the only year he didn't make an All-NBA team was his rookie year. The year he did get hurt, he was on the All-NBA team.
Yeah, 13, wasn't he?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. I assumed it was that year.
Yeah.
So it was his rookie year.
And he still won Rookie of the Year.
And he was Rookie of the Year. So he has been either Rookie of the Year or All-NBA all 21 of his
that
seasons.
almost makes it better.
That makes the stat better. See,
remarkable.
Hembo gets the stats wrong, and Cam makes them better. It's a tough day for the Hembo.
Really bad. What am I doing here?
Anyway, the point is, we ask ourselves that every day. Anyway, the point I'm making is that if you want to make an argument for LeBron James being the greatest of all time, there's your argument.
Yeah. Michael Jordan made his last All-NBA team in his age 34 season.
Well, he kept leaving. I mean, Michael Jordan would have won 8 straight championships at minimum if he hadn't retired. I will believe that forever. In Chicago, we used to have a phrase, minimum 8-peat, my friend. We used to say that all the time. Michael Jordan willingly took himself out of the mix. Michael Jordan also, by the time LeBron James, we're saying LeBron James made the All-NBA team at 20. Michael Jordan was busy winning NCAA championships and gold medals by the time he was that age. So those are not fair. It's not apples to apples.
No, I mean, Jordan had 2 separate 3-year stints that are unassailable, that will never be touched.
And even before that. His NBA career before they started winning championships was ridiculous.
I mean, individually outstanding.
Ridiculously good.
From 87 to 98, we'll say a dozen years.
And the league was way better. When LeBron was carrying all those bad Cleveland teams to finals, he didn't have to play Larry Bird, and he didn't have to play the Bad Boys Pistons and all those teams. Not comparable.
All fair, but 2 decades is also something we're not likely to ever see again.